Unless you've been under a rock for the past few months, you'll know that there have been some pretty big changes going on in Washington, D.C. as the US government under President Donald Trump reshapes some of the policies and priorities of many federal agencies, slashing budgets here and gagging agencies there, drawing praise from some and harsh criticism from others. So far, these changes, some enacted and some proposed, have impacted everything from foreign policy to immigration rules and government agency websites, filling open positions in a variety of government agencies, and spending on social care programs. But this week, a new consequence of the Trump administration appeared, a proposed budget cut to the US Environmental Protection Agency, which would slash 99% of the EPA's current budget for testing and verifying vehicle emissions and fuel economy. What does that mean for the automotive industry, air quality, and the future of cleaner vehicles? Stick around to find out. Hi there, it's Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield here from Transport Evolved, and yes, today I'm focusing on politics. But as I've said in the past, there's only so much it's possible to do in life without butting up against some form of politics, which is why I made the choice to make this video in the first place. But before you turn off in frustration, know that my intent here is to try and be as fair as possible to both sides of this. According to official governmental budget documents, which originate from the March 21st budget proposal penned by the White House, the US EPA will have to lay off 25% of all of its staff and scrap some 56 programs in order to meet the proposed 31% budget cut the White House wishes the agency to undergo. As part of that, everything from the Great Lakes Restoration Program to leaking underground storage tank prevention programs will be cut, with some disappearing altogether and others becoming a shadow of their former selves. One such cut, the EPA's vehicle emissions and fuel economy testing programs, which are designed to not only ensure that automakers are in compliance with air quality standards, but to confirm automaker-submitted fuel economy figures. In total, the proposal represents slashing $48 million in funding from the vehicle testing budget, equivalent to 99% of its current operating budget. And that's got both environmental protection advocates and automakers concerned. Yes, automakers, you heard me right. While the EPA and its testing may have caused many automakers to get into trouble for not meeting the required criteria, or in the case of Volkswagen, cheating and attempting to circumvent the rules, cars can't be sold in the US until they've undergone official EPA testing. And if the budget has been slashed, that could mean that automakers won't be able to bring their cars to market as quickly as they once could, which eventually could have detrimental effects on everyone, especially if we're talking cleaner, greener cars. One solution, seemingly proposed by the US government, is to force automakers to pay more to have their cars tested, essentially passing the responsibility onto the auto industry. But the fear here is that testing will become less stringent than it once was, letting cheats slip through the system and ultimately leading to more air pollution. Or that testing will become a backlog process that prevents new cars from hitting the market. So what does this mean for cleaner, greener, smarter and safer cars? Well, like their internal combustion engine counterparts, electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles still have to be certified by the EPA before they can reach the marketplace. And if there are significant financial burdens to bringing already expensive cars to market, you can guess what might happen. Automakers will end up passing on the cost of getting EPA approval to customers in the form of higher sticker prices. And that's bad for everyone. Is there a solution that works? Well, not any that I can think of other than not making the budget cuts in the first place. The proposed solution on the table right now could give automakers even more control over the entire process, which could ultimately lead to more fraud and ultimately a slow eroding of the work that's been done by the EPA over the past decade or two. But with states like California and the other 10 states that have adopted California's stricter air quality and fuel economy standards, there is still at least some hope that cleaner, greener cars will be brought to market, if only so automakers can sell to some of the most important car markets in the US without fear of financial repercussions. But what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Support us through Patreon. There's a link below and at the end of this video. And I'll be back tomorrow. And as it's Friday, you can look forward to TEN, the usual weekly roundup of the news in the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transportation. Until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Thanks for watching. And as always, keep evolving.